much for having me here today. I appreciate your time and I hope you like this presentation. Have you guys ever heard of the statement that humans are pro-social beings? If you have, please raise your hand. I see a few over there. I see some over there. Well, personally, I have not heard of this. I have only heard of this after doing some research. And this research included something surprising to me, something so crazy that I don't think any of you guys would believe it. I found out that humankind, are beings that like to help other people. Now, to me, that's surprising. Obviously, that's a joke. I help people all the time. I held the door for someone at the subway station the other day. But what this means to us is it means that we as humans, we get gratification from helping other people. And this comes with some sort of feeling inside of us. And we get this feeling that the more we help, the more kindness comes to us. Now, this enforces something. This enforces a high dopamine boost in our bodies, where now anyone can get this dopamine boost just by helping other people. And this is what we call the helper's high. There's a reason why it's called the helper's high. It's because constantly chasing the high can lead to neglecting one's own physical and mental health. The more we do doesn't necessarily imply the better outcome. Unsurprisingly, this same concept can be applied to all aspects of life, which brings us to our main topic. The more is better belief. This belief is a common cognitive bias and cultural mindset, such that accumulating more in life, such as possessions, achievements, options, or experiences, all lead to one thing: a better life, with happiness, with success, and with fulfillment. However, anyone who pursues this belief will know that there's diminishing results. While oftentimes, when pursuing this belief, people recognize that there is a potential for burnout. Because, yes, of course, you're always trying to do more, meaning you're always putting that extra effort in to do more in life. All right, well, that's fine. Maybe you can get something out of it. Maybe you can get some more happiness. Wrong. Lower levels of happiness often occur when following this cultural belief, this common cognitive bias. And it's because we truly forget how to appreciate what we already have in life. So if everyone can pay attention to the slides we have over here, we can see what's going on. The problem isn't about helping or growth. It's about when more replaces balance. People today know better and can suspect that more is in fact not better. However, I also know that we all fall into this original belief one way or another. Let me give you an example. A lot of people, particularly millennials, have ditched the previous materialism that our ancestors have had for generations. Instead of buying fancy cars or big homes, we've learned that these material things mean less than real experiences we can potentially have. So these same people end up not buying into these material things, and instead spend their time and wealth on hanging out with friends, doing more recreational hobbies such as smoking or ziplining across the rainforest, or a lot of them even travel. Believe it or not, they are in the same deception as everyone else. They've merely shifted their priorities such that their more is better is not more assets, but rather more experiences. Suddenly, instead of physical possessions, it becomes more trips, more parties, more stimulation, more memories. And still, it's never enough. That imbalance creates a problem when everything is about maximizing experiences. Life stops being something you live and instead starts becoming something you constantly have to upgrade. Let me give you another example. There are many people these days that reject consumerism and decide to focus on self-improvement. You ever hear of Brian Johnson? He is a 48-year-old man, the previous CEO of Venmo, before he sold it to PayPal, of course, and now he is the founder of a company named Braintree, where he plans on creating extreme health protocols to reach his final goal of achieving reverse aging. And that's why people call him the world's most measured man, because everything he does is measured in some sort of fashion. Brian Johnson used to be like most of us, consumers of what goods the world brought us. But now he is a health fanatic. He is under constant measurement, monotonous diets, rigid schedules, and what he calls the protocol. But in reality, it's just a strict 24-hour work schedule to support his final mission. Brian never stops, and that's not health. That's obsession. He's even gone too far. Recently, he's taken the psychedelic known as mushrooms, and he has recorded 140 biomarkers in his body to see the effects. He's doing too much, people say. But on the other hand, Brian Johnson claims that people are doing too much in terms of eating unhealthily, sleeping inconsistently, and not being on a rigid schedule. The problem that stands out to me is that if you spend your whole life trying to optimize every part of it for its healthiest potential, the time you might be able to save is used up for finding those optimizations, whether it be fixing your sleep schedule, morning routines, efficiency in the gym. This time could rather be spent on the things you enjoy, hanging with friends and family, or eating the occasional meal outside. Becoming this strict on yourself creates those sorts of problems. I can already hear you guys right now. But improvement and experiences are good, right? Yeah, don't get me wrong. Experiences matter. Growth matters. Helping people matters. But when they become everything, they take everything. Notice the pattern. Let me give you one final example, given to me by one of my high school teachers. He once told me about a trap he fell in. Well, not a physical trap, but rather a mental constraint he put himself into. He said his life started off with wanting to learn more about the world. He said, "At the time, I believed knowledge was key to life, and that it very much could be. But life is about more than books, podcasts, more than courses, more than content. At the time, I didn't realize it. I was addicted, endlessly consuming knowledge, but rarely applying it after I learned it. I was mistaking volume for progress. It looked like progress, but I never felt like it was enough." Alright, I want you guys to notice a pattern. In the first example, I told you of the millennials not focusing their time or their money on material things, but rather they're spending their time and money on experiences in life. But these experiences are not just normal experiences. They're the most maximized experiences in their life. They want to take their life and they want to make it the best life in the world. Now, when you're doing that, you understand that these millennials, these people, anyone who wants to maximize experiences rather than material things, these people have a shortfall here. They're always trying to get the next thrill in their life. We can say that they're always trying to catch that next high. But these thrill seekers eventually get left dry, where life brings them to a bore. Just like those people who are always awaiting the next highest roller coaster. You see their interest in roller coasters and amusement parks go down in the later years. And this is because life becomes a bore. The thrill that was once thrilling is no longer thrilling. Life becomes boring. And that makes it hard to appreciate life for what it is. In the second example, we talked about Brian Johnson. He's a health fanatic, and as a health fanatic, he's always trying to aim for more in life. Not more experiences, but rather more longevity. And this is a word he uses a lot, longevity. And what does it mean? It just means more. He wants more in his health. He wants more time on this planet. He wants more to live for. Yet, as he tries to achieve more and more and more in terms of his health and his time on this planet, he gets less and less and less time to be human, to time to spend with his friends and his family, his loved ones. He gets less time to eat what he enjoys. He gets less time to enjoy the activities and hobbies he once enjoyed. Now he's on a strict regime, and now he is on a strict life. When you aim for more in one thing, you aim for less in another. And this balance comes into key later. In the last example, my high school teacher put a lot more effort into his studies rather than the application of his studies. He spent all his time learning new things, new skills, yet he had never applied any of them. He put way less time on application and a lot more time on knowledge. In short, every extreme has a cost. Too much consumption, you lose meaning. Too much optimization, and you lose life. Too much learning, and now you're losing action. Same concept, different mask. In conclusion, we know that this more is better belief is no longer a belief that everyone believes in. Rather, it's a belief that everyone falls into, like a trap. Again, not a physical one, rather a mental constraint that we all fall into. And we don't fall into it because we're weak. We fall into it because we're human. And as humans, what do we want? We want more. So stop asking, how do I get more? And start asking, when does more start to hurt me?